Thanks for joining me on Sound Booth tutorials. For more stuff like this, head on over to All Buttons In, where I will go into this and other things in more depth over the coming weeks. Remember to subscribe. Hi folks, just a quick one today where we're going to talk a little about gain staging and headroom in relation to the whole mix and where to start so that we don't run into trouble later on in the mixing session. What is headroom? Headroom refers to the amount of range we have available to process between the maximum level of audio and the maximum output of our DAW. If we have no headroom, the audio will push into the ceiling and square off, causing distortion. More headroom means that we have a greater range at our disposal to process and balance audio before this happens. What is gain staging? Gain staging refers to taking a methodical approach to the way we process our audio such that if we process something and it increases the channel level by X amount, you then try to ensure that the processing is compensated for by X amount at the output before it hits any downstream processing or routing. Good gain staging means that we seldom have to turn down the entire mix or individual tracks in order to prevent an overload, and this results in a good use of the available headroom. In reality, we like things loud. I like to be able to push faders up, and it can be a drag having to back them off in order to gain headroom. So here are the strategies I use every mix to determine the initial balance and ideal fader positions in relation to the master fader. Here are the steps. While listening to a commercial mix, set the volume level on your interface or on the amplifier that's driving your speakers to a comfortably low listening level. Mark this with a whiteboard marker and try not to deviate from it, unless you're turning up for a bit of fun or to check bass levels in your mix. Group all of your audio tracks together and pull them down completely. Keep everything except for stereo tracks in a mono pan position for now. Set both the trim and mixbus at unity gain and instantiate a limiter on the mixbus. Preferably choose a transparent sounding limiter like the Massey L2007, which is free to use, or the FabFilter Pro L. Bring down the threshold or bring up the gain, whichever is relevant to the design of that plugin, to the maximum level possible. Loop and play back the loudest section of the song and slowly and carefully bring up all the grouped audio faders and set them so that the song plays back at a comfortable level. As a general guide, you should not have any peaks past the green indicator on the trim channel meter. Time to ungroup all of the audio files now and spend a few minutes finding good average positions for each instrument. First, turning down louder parts that stick out and turn up those that need more level to be heard in the correct context. These can be fairly subjective choices, but we're going for a rough balance and it really should take no more than 5 or 10 minutes to get there.
It's not easy, though believe me, when the tide arises I'm gonna jump in. Rush, bottle, waddle, woo, woo. There's nothing we can't do. When you come home to me, hold me, darling, and we'll find out a few.
Alright, so that's 40 plus tracks and I've just achieved a basic balance. The song's maybe 3.5 minutes and I did 3 passes at it. and so this is the balance that I've arrived at. So once you're done, group the audio tracks together again, turn the trim channel all the way down, and pull up the faders until the highest set fader sits just below or at unity gain. This normally is the vocal, but not always. Ungroup the audio files, play the song, and slowly bring up the trim until the song is at a level good for mixing, but not hitting the limiter too hard. I usually keep the levels feeding the trim channel in the green, but if you find you're hitting the limiter too hard, you can back off the input or the threshold that sets the input level to it. What are the benefits of working this way? Well, loads of headroom. And if you start with a good balance to begin with, you aren't later fighting with other instruments and the issue of low headroom because you made all the balance assessments when there was plenty of room to alter that balance. This method takes the guesswork out of finding the maximum ideal starting place for all the faders. You can go ahead and start panning and add processing as needed without the fear of hitting the ceiling on the mixbus. And if you find that you're running into headroom issues, you can simply back off the limiter input or threshold. The limiter in this case is a good indicator of how much headroom you actually have by how much gain you're able to add. It's not imperative that the limiter stays on the mix bus until the end of the mix, but it does help to create a false ceiling that can be lifted up higher if need be, whilst also serving the function of maintaining a good listening level to your speakers while you mix. That's my approach, and it has served me well. There are other approaches you could take, but I find this to be the quickest and easiest to implement into my workflow. I hope you find it useful too. Until next time, happy mixing. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas for new tutorials or require mixing services, please email me at yamahadrums2009@hotmail.com, and please subscribe to remain informed of future video releases.